Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode from our podcast, Land Talks, brought to you by the G20 Global Land Initiative. Today, we have Ana Di Pangracio. We're so happy to have you, Ana, with us today.
Thank you so much.
Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am Ana Di Pangracio. I am an environmental lawyer. I have over 50 years experience in civil society organizations. I am based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And for the last 10 years, I've been working at Fundación Ambiente Naturales, an NGO specializing in environmental law and policy with a commitment to defend human rights and the environment, working with bottom-up approaches together with indigenous communities, local communities, and urban and peri-urban grassroots groups.
Great, thank you so much. So, Ana, as a Deputy Director of FARN, you have been at the forefront of advocating for environmental protection and sustainable resources management. What are the key challenges you seen in balancing development and conservation in today's world?
Well, what we can clearly see, especially from the Argentinian perspective, is that for civil society organizations, it is really a triumph when we have legislation protecting the environment, but then a different step and history is about actual implementation of the commitments that and legal obligations that our authorities have in light of this legislation. And that not only includes activities on the ground, but also budget. For instance, we do budget analysis from our organization, and we can see that only 0.2 to 0.5% of the total national budget goes to environmental protection, against the over 10% that yearly goes to activities that are harmful for the environment. And we can see that applies, for instance, in the kind of work that I do. I'm managing the biodiversity area in my organization. So we see that protected and search areas and different initiatives on environmental territorial planning, etc., are still pending or only partially implemented due to the lack of funding, and that results in the lack of sufficient human resources and materials, technologies, everything that you need in order to implement protected areas, conserved areas, and other initiatives. We're very dependent on projects with international support, but we always say that despite the obligation, of course, of the developed countries to support developing countries, our own countries also have to invest more of their yearly budget on environmental protection, because there is no production nor life possible if we keep on degrading and destroying ecosystems. So we need to find a balance and respect ecological integrity of ecosystems.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit about the role of civil society in land restoration. So, Ana, FARN plays a significant role in mobilizing civil society for environmental causes. How do you engage communities and stakeholders in land restoration efforts, and what impact have these collaborations?
Yes. Well, that is at the core of our organization. We work in networks a lot together with other CSOs, but also grassroots organizations and local communities in urban, peri-urban, and rural area, but also indigenous communities. We develop projects and initiatives together with them. It's not that we have canned solutions that we want and try to impose to these communities, but we work together according to what they're needing at the moment, and that includes, for instance, land issues and restoration. There is a case where we work in the suburbs of Buenos Aires province. That is the most important province in the country, where we carry out wetlands restoration together with a national university, a local museum, and a local grassroots organization to carry out the planting of native forests, extraction of exotic plants, carry out educational activities, constructing viewpoints, signaling, and in order to help the educational activities. But at the same time, we focus on environmental law. So when it's necessary, we also go to court. We do strategic litigation, And in the case of drylands in Argentina, in the north of the country, we have salt plains. In there are under menace because of the exploration and extraction of lithium. So we are accompanying indigenous communities in that sense, because projects are advancing without respecting the right to consultation and free, prior and informed consent. So besides advocacy work, at different levels, if necessary, we go to court, and that's the case in order to defend these high-altitude wetlands that are classified as drylands.
This is great to hear and very inspiring, actually. So, Anna, let's talk a little bit about policy and land restoration. Your work focuses on environment and natural resources, right? Yes. How do you see policy reforms and legal frameworks driving land restoration initiatives, particularly in Latin America?
Yes. Well, of course, the role that restoration plays is very important. First of all, we always say that it's best if you work towards the conservation and sustainable use of ecosystem, because like I said before, there is no production or life possible with degraded or destroyed ecosystems. But then, of course, those that have been degraded already or are affected by desertification or land degradation or drought need to be restored. And of course, that also involves a lot of investment. So that's why it's best to protect natural ecosystems rather than degrade them and invest a lot of money in the restoration. But of course, our region is affected by the global crisis of desertification, land degradation, and drought, and there is a lot of work to do in terms of restoration. We know our countries are mobilizing funds, but they still need more support from the developed world and other initiatives from public and private funds in order to carry out the restoration that is necessary and head towards a region and a world that takes better care of ecosystems and restore the ones that are degraded for the well-being not only of the environment but also of our population in our region. So I think we have a great potential, but once restored, we also have to make sure that we change the way we produce and we consume and we alter ecosystems so that the restoration work then pays off in the very long term, and these ecosystems are then not affected again.
Yes, great. Let's take the conversation to another topic. It's about your vision for a sustainable future. Looking ahead, what is your vision for achieving sustainable land management and restoration? How can initiatives like the G20 Global Land Initiative amplify the work of your organization?
Yes. Well, we are optimistic. We always say that if we wouldn't be doing this kind of job if we weren't optimistic. No, sometimes hard work can be quite hard, and we got our disappointments or processes take too long at the national, regional, or international levels. But we carry on working together with other CSOs and right holders and other relevant stakeholders. We believe in these processes. That's why we always follow the global processes and how they connect with the national level. The decisions that are made there, here then result in processes at the national level that will be important, like the policies on, say, desertification, land degradation and drought, or LDN, or restoration, etc. So we want to make sure that the decisions by parties in here are bold and exactly what we need to then go back home and drive change at the national and regional level as well. So we trust this process, but of course we are mindful that this is a kind of process that can take a while. But we do trust in multilateral spaces, and we are here to contribute to it. I think that with small grants, you can make a very big difference to different restoration initiatives that are happening on the ground, that are very bottom-up, involving local groups, and that they have been open not to impose conditions, but rather see what the groups were needing, so that the funds could go directly there as a continuation of the work they've been doing it and scale it up. And also with the potential maybe for multi-year support. So that is good, and we will see what results from there.
Yes, of course. My final question for you, Anna, is with your vast expertise, what is one consistent truth about land restoration that you have encountered? I mean, what result are you always confident will emerge from these efforts, the efforts of land restoration?
Definitely. I think that what is participatory, what involves the grassroots, the local people, always guaranteed long-term success. So top-down initiatives are usually not that successful. So if we carry out this kind of initiatives at all levels, and that includes funders, the kind of your contributions and projects that they support, we believe that can have a long-term impact. So it's always good to do it at the community level, to participate, engage meaningfully the local actors to ensure sustained success, not only in the combat against desertification, land degradation, and drought, and including solutions like sustainable land management, but for all solutions that are out there to reverse the ecological, climate, and desertification crisis, and including pollution crisis that we are undergoing and that we need to tackle in an integral manner.
Ana, it was such a true pleasure to have you with us today in our podcast. Thank you very much for being with us and allowing us to know more about the initiative you are working on. It was really a true pleasure to have you today, and for our audience, stay tuned. Thank you and goodbye for now.